What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. One of these days I'm going to catch you guys off guard and go full YouTuber on the intro like,
What's up guys? Today we're gonna make a godlike PvP build and you will never die again.
sometimes I'm glad I don't have that kind of energy. Anyways, we are jumping into another one bar build today, a stamina Dragonknight to be exact. I'm on my red guard Dragonknight character today, but you could pretty much use whatever race you want, with the worst choices being an Argonian or a Breton. We're going to place all of our attribute points into stamina. We're going to take the Thief as our Mundus Stone, and we're going to eat Lavafoot Soup and Salt Rice as our consumable. For potions, you could either use Tripots or an Essence of Weapon Power. We just want to be sure that we get Major Endurance to increase our stamina recovery from our potion usage, so just be sure that's included in whatever you end up choosing. So for a very simple non-trial setup, we're going to be running with 5 pieces of Pillar of Nirn and 5 pieces of Kinra. If you want to run this with trial gear, you can just swap out the Kinra pieces with Arms of Reliquin or Perfected Arms of Reliquin from the Cloud Rest trial. So we're wearing our 5 Pillar of Nirn pieces on our shoulders, our hands, our legs, a belt, and on our feet. All of our armor pieces will be Divines with max stamina glyphs. You can loot these gear pieces from the Falkreath Hold DLC dungeon. And then we'll be wearing our other 5 pieces of Kinra on our chest, 2 daggers, a ring, and a necklace. We want all the jewelry to be bloodthirsty with weapon damage, and although my 2 weapons appear to be axes, they are indeed daggers. I just like this style of axes, so I set them up like this at the outfit station. Speaking of our daggers, we will want 1 Nirnhorned and 1 charged. Stick a poison enchant on one and a flame enchant on the other one. You can kind of mix and match the traits and glyphs on those 2 pieces. It's not really that big of a deal how you decide to set it up. The Kinra set can be looted from the Black Drake Villa DLC dungeon. And then our monster piece will be a light Slimecross Guise, as usual, with a critical damage build. And then our mythic will of course be Oakensoul. As usual, I will mention that you'll want your gear to be fully upgraded as you can afford to do so. You can still play in the meantime. You'll just be doing a bit less damage than you potentially will be doing with everything maxed out in gold. I even have some blue jewelry pieces here, and everything's totally fine, so don't overthink things on that end. If you end up setting up your character like this and enjoying it and kind of using it often, you'll want to be sure to save up gold from doing your dailies so you can get those glyphs added on and get everything upgraded so you can be your best self. Since I already mentioned that a trial set could be slotted rather than Kinra here, I'd also say that if you're going for a solo setup rather than focusing on group content, you could swap out one of your sets for Hexo's Ward. This is an overland set found in the Deadlands zone that gives you some critical chance, some weapon damage, and gives you a damage shield when you deal critical damage. If you don't have access to that DLC, you can always buy these set pieces from a guild trader. Another option for this setup would actually be to become a werewolf and just leave everything as is.
We're not to be feared.
This can always be fun when you get bored with, running around doing the same thing all the time. And it can make doing your daily dungeons more exciting, so just keep that in mind if you're going to be setting up a character like this. Another bonus option would be to nix the Oakensoul ring and run 2 pieces of the Zan monster set that can be looted from Scalecaller Peak. This one gives you some critical chance, and then when you deal critical damage with a light or heavy attack, you have a chance to tether to your enemy and deal extra flame damage. In a party setting, that would be an okay setup, since you can get some of your buffs that you'll be losing from Oakensoul from other people in your group, especially in a trial setting. So over in the champion points section, we will be using Deadly Aim, Master at Arms, Wrathful Strikes, and Fighting Finesse. If you're parsing, you'll want to use Backstabber on here, and if you're playing a more solo setup, you'll probably want to consider using Reaving Blows in place of Fighting Finesse. In the red section, we'll slot in Boundless Vitality, Fortified, Rejuvenation, and Bloody Renewal, so we can get some stamina back whenever we kill an enemy. In the green section, you can just slot whatever you want. I like to use Gifted Rider, Steed's Blessing, Warmount, and Rationer, but you can always slot in something else if you'd like. For passive skills, be sure to get everything from Ardent Flame. You'll want to get Iron Skin and Scaled Armor from Draconic Power. Everything from Earthen Heart. You'll want to get your dual wield passives, all the passives from Medium and Light Armor, and anything you need from the guilds, Alliance War, and crafting as well. Our skill bar is going to be pretty easy. We have a bunch of Dragonknight abilities with just one spammable from the dual wield skill line. So first up, we'll be using Noxious Breath. If you're parsing, you can stick Barbed Trap here instead. Next up is going to be Burning Embers, which acts as a nice damage over time and a self-heal. And again, if you're parsing, I'd swap this out for the other morph, Venomous Claw, probably. Next up is our main spammable, Rapid Strikes. For a solo setup, you can always use the Bloodthirst morph in place of Rapid Strikes to get some extra healing, but you'll do a little bit less damage. Then we'll also have the Eruption skill slotted for some more damage over time. That also doubles as a debuff and slows down our enemies. And then we'll be using Flames of Oblivion as our last skill for even more damage over time. Our ultimate is going to be Standard of Might, simply because it's the best. If you prefer to use Leap, you can do that as well, but the good old DK Stripper Pole is the best in my book. So for a rotation, you're basically just going to, throw down all of your DOT abilities, making sure to hit the enemy with that fire sword to get a heal back over time. And then once your target is kind of primed, just hit him with the main spammable and weave in light attacks. Just rinse and repeat something like that until everything has been destroyed, and be sure to rest your little fingies so you don't get arthritis. If for any reason you're having trouble sustaining your stamina, you should always double check that you're eating lava foot soup. It can also be easy to forget to use your potions when they become available, so make sure you don't let them go to waste. And if you're playing sweatier content, you'll probably always be waiting to slam a potion as soon as it becomes available. You can also make sure that you have Rejuvenation slotted on your champion points bar for that little boost to recovery. And then you can also make sure you have the Battle Roar passive unlocked in the Earthen Heart skill line. And then the last thing to keep in mind is that you're using a nice blend of Magicka and Stamina skills on your bar. So if every single skill is using the same resource, so in this case Stamina, you'll just have more trouble keeping topped up and sustaining to keep your rotations going. So, take different morphs if you need to in those situations. Our setup here is a nice blend of Stamina and Magicka abilities, so sustain shouldn't really be too much of an issue. I decided against doing a parse this time around because it's really not that exciting, so here are some clips from a dungeon I ran earlier with this build, so you can get an idea of what the gameplay actually looks like before you invest your time or gold into any of the gear pieces. And if you're wondering what this outfit style is, it's the Sand-Kissed Salwar Ensemble right here with a black die stamp that I got from a crown crate. Before I go, I figured I'd mention the new posting schedule that I'm messing around with this week. If you haven't noticed, I've been posting some other types of content alongside the normal ESO stuff. When I started the channel, I called it Dumpster because I figured I'd just be putting all of my kind of junk on here. So I'll keep that up as we move forward. So on Mondays, I'll be posting videos within the realm of analog horror. On Tuesdays, we will do a more generalized talk about some specific aspect of ESO. Sometimes just a little guide video. Usually tends to be me complaining about something. On Wednesdays, we'll be doing a fishing ASMR until I finish up all the zones and then probably switch to something else. On Thursday, or Turdass as it's better named, we'll be doing a video related to cryptozoology or, legends of some sort. And then Friday will be for the boys, so we'll do a build video. And then Saturday is, of course, Lordos, so some Elder Scrolls lore videos will fit nicely there. And then finally on Sundays, I'll be doing installments of my bite-sized horror series, which is basically just me reading horror stories that I had ChatGPT help me write. I'm sure I'll miss a day or two here and there, but I'm one of those people that likes to torment themselves with a workload, and making YouTube content has strangely been very satisfying for me lately, so I figure I might as well strike while the iron is hot and keep it going while I'm feeling the workaholic bug. Alright, thanks for watching as always, and be sure to leave a like on the video, sub to the channel if you enjoyed. See ya!